So I wanted to open the ceremony, and I wanted to thank everybody for coming. I wanted to welcome our university community and guests that have traveled to be here. I think that this is the significance of this event is to honor someone who loved the university and the university loved back, and also to unveil something that will help us remember Maria for many, many years to come. First, I'd like to thank the New Jersey City University Senior Administration. I'd like to thank the Cass Dean's Office, University Advancement, and the Psychology Department, and the special guests who have returned to NJCU just for this occasion, such as Dr. Joanne Bruno, Ms. Susan Iwanowski, and Ms. Damaris Castillo to help make this event special. Let me start off and offer a tribute to the person that we're here recognizing today. In memoriam, Dr. Maria Lynn. Dr. Maria Lynn was a professor of psychology and a dedicated administrator who served the community for over 20 years. She held many important roles during her tenure, including service as an assistant dean, as an associate dean at a later point within the William J. Maxwell College of Arts and Sciences, under two different deans. She was an assistant vice president under the former provost Larry Carter, associate provost under former provost Joanne Bruno, and most recently, associate provost for undergraduate education under former provost Tamara Joshi. As co-chair of the psychology department, Dr. Lynn was recognized for her excellence in teaching by the National Society of Leadership and Success. She taught some of the department's most technical and demanding courses: statistics, research methods, and the senior research seminar. Yet her classes were consistently the first to fill during registration. Even after taking on high-level administrative roles, Dr. Lynn continued teaching and mentoring her colleagues. I recall her telling me that the students were counting on her and she couldn't disappoint them. Students clamored to enroll, knowing they'd learn deeply and feel genuinely supported. She was still actively supporting students and faculty until she fell ill in mid-March of 2023. Maria is remembered as a deeply kind and generous person. She was known to quietly help students in need and even offering her own money when necessary, and not on just rare occasions. Her warmth, intelligence, sharp wit, and fierce advocacy for the underdog made her beloved by all who knew her. Many students benefited from her wisdom and devotion, and her ever-present stash of chocolate, which she generously shared with anyone in need of a pick-me-up. Maria was an excellent administrator, a beloved professor, and a cherished friend. She always had time to listen, to offer guidance, or simply to sit and talk. We were all better for having known her, and her absence is still deeply felt by the psychology department and the entire NJC community. Now that Sarah and I have unveiled the memorial, we would like to dedicate it. So to honor Maria's spirit of generosity and her gift for listening, we dedicate this memorial bench along one of the most well-traveled paths of our campus. Beside it, at the request of her sister Sherry, and in celebration of Maria's love for their beauty, we've planted some cherry blossoms, a living and enduring tribute to her grace, strength, and fleeting brilliance she brought to our lives. May this space offer comfort and reflection, a place to pause, to connect, and to pay it forward, just as Maria did. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to read the plaque to you. Pause here for a moment, relax, and smile in the loving memory of Dr. Maria Lynn, cherished mentor, university administrator, and professor of psychology. As we move on to the next part, I would like to introduce Ms. Sarah Roman.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here today on this chilly, windy day, but thankfully it's not raining and we decided to stick with staying outside. So thank you for bearing with us to honor Maria. Unfortunately, her sister, Shelly Sims, Sherry Sims, she really wanted to be here. She's in Missouri, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it and be here today. But she did send me her comments and remarks that she wanted me to read today. In loving memory of Dr. Maria Lynn, it is with both deep sorrow and immense gratitude that we honor the life of my sister Maria Lynn, whose passing leaves a profound void in our hearts. As a sister, she was a guiding light, a steadfast presence, whose love and strength shaped our lives in ways too numerous to count. As a professor at NJCU, she left an incredible mark on everyone who had the privilege of learning from her. Maria faced life's challenges with incredible resilience, whether in personal struggles or personal professional journey. She always showed us that strength is not just about overcoming adversity, it's about doing so with grace, compassion, and a steadfast belief in the power of education. Her ability to rise above difficult circumstances and use those experiences to help others was a testament to her character. In the classroom, Maria was a beacon of knowledge and a compassionate mentor. She understood that teaching went beyond simply imparting knowledge. It was about inspiring students to believe in themselves and to challenge their own limits. Her passion for subjects was matched only by her dedication to her students' success. She recognized the unique potential in each of them, and through her encouragement, they not only learned academic concepts but gained a confidence to pursue their dreams. Her colleagues at NJCU will forever remember her as a true professional who was always willing to lend an ear, offer support, and collaborate with the spirit of kindness and generosity. She was a pillar within the academic community, and her legacy will live on in the countless students and faculty whose lives she touched. Whether through her tireless work ethic, her unwavering commitment to her students, or her quiet acts of compassion, she was an example to us all. Though we mourn her loss, we take comfort in knowing that her legacy is strength, compassion, and success continues to inspire everyone she left behind. Her life was a reminder that no matter the challenge, we can rise with resilience, find joy in serving others, and leave an impact that transcends time. Rest in peace, dear sister, friend, colleague, and kind human being. Your strength, compassion, and the difference you made in the world will never be forgotten. With love and appreciation, Sherry Sims. So again, my name is Sarah Roman. Maria was a dear colleague of mine, and I'm share many of the same fond memories of Maria that are going to be shared throughout the event. I'm truly thankful for the time we had together. Sadly, my father passed away only 2 months before Maria, and when my dad was battling his cancer, she was always such a compassionate and warm person and willing to listen and hear. And so it's really an honor for me to be able to help facilitate this beautiful bench in her honor, because she was there so much for me as a friend. And actually, we all know Maria. She was so humble that she probably would not even want this bench at all or for us to make a fuss of her. But it was something that we really felt important and that the community contributed. I only wish that she was here today to see this, how loved she was. And she was such a valued member of New Jersey City University. And it's so special that we have this bench here to help us pause and think of her, and also remember to be kind and compassionate as she was. And it's also a reminder that every day is a blessing, and that we should also recognize all the wonderful work and colleagues every day, not only in their passing. Just a special thanks to the big team that helped put this together. It started with an idea from Dr. Scott Mittman, and with the help of the faculty, staff, students, university advancement, the foundation, facilities department over there, the dean's office, marketing, psychology, Victor, so many more to help this event possible. It's a real big special thank you. And a special thank you to Sabata over there with the vision. We told him we wanted to put a bench, and he had the vision to not only put this bench, but he made this whole little space, and the bricks and the cherry blossom trees. Him and his team, they did a fabulous time. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone, and thanks again for being here.
As always, Ms. Roman is she she didn't reflect that this would not have been possible without her navigating this thing the whole way through. This has been a surprisingly long process from beginning to end. There are lots of moving parts, and I want to recognize Sarah, because this would not have happened without her. I'd like to call up first former provost Dr. Joanne Bruno, who worked with Maria years before my time.
You know, I was so grateful to the wonderful Sarah who reached out to me and said, Joe, I know you're in Pennsylvania, but would you like to be at this important memorial and memories of Maria Lynn? As the, I guess the sign says, Maria always wanted to be Maria. She never stood behind a title. She was always there for everyone. And I'm looking out and I see Jim, I see so many people. She's touched everybody on this campus. But I want to tell you how much she touched me. Ethel Ashley is here, and it's part of a triumvirate because Ethel, me, Maria, and Anna, who I guess couldn't make it today, were really a group that was hanging out in Hepburn. And I believe Maria's spirit, even though she preferred to be in the classroom with students, but when she was with me, she was in an assistant vice president, associate vice president's role. But she brought all her candy there. I just want you to know. And she also had the Band-Aids, the aspirins. She had her medical drawer too. But she always has something for her. In fact, I used to direct people to that room to get either a piece of sugar or a Band-Aid. Maria was quite unusual. I had the good fortune of getting to know her as a friend too. And Maria spent a lot of time with me in New York when I had double knee surgery, double knee replacement. She came armed with quilts and everything to keep me comfortable. And more importantly, when my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's, she was at my side in our home in Pennsylvania. And it's very traumatic to say because she was always, always giving of herself every minute of her life. I know she would want to be remembered in joy and happiness, and everybody should take a piece of candy and think of our wonderful Maria, who's always going to be with us in our hearts, always. I want to thank you so much for coming out, Sarah, the Dean. I think it's just terrific that you took the time and energy to pay homage to one of the greatest people I've ever known in my life. Thank you.
I'd like to invite up here someone who knew her very well, Dr. Jim Lennon, the then co-chair and now present department chair of the psychology department.
Thankfully, my remarks will be very brief. I'm from the psychology department. We like to claim that Maria was part of us, but she was part of everyone here. And I want to thank all of you for coming and honoring her today. You know, Maria, of course, in psychology, we focus on data, and we focus on research and being objective. But Maria always reminded us to be beneficent, which means kind. She taught us, reminded us every day to be kind to each other, to be kind to our students, and most importantly, be kind to ourselves. You know, we all have our stories about Maria. My story is very so we were moved from one part of the university to the other part of the university. I got this big room. I sat there with a little desk, and she came in and said, you need a desk." So a couple of days later, I come in and there's this huge, like, office desk thing. Like, where the heck is this from? Well, it turned out it was Maria's. She had given me her desk. She also gave me a label maker. I still don't know what the heck to do with that thing, but I still have the label maker. It's in a big box in our new offices. Thank you very much. We do have some prepared remarks, however, from the department, and I'd like to ask Dr. Andrew Getzfeld to come forward and share his thoughts.
I'm freezing, so I apologize for for the appearance here. And knowing Maria like I did, she would have said, you know, "Get your ass inside. You're too thin. You're going to get sick. And here, take some candy." Which everybody has mentioned this again and again and again. When I got the news that Maria had become critically ill, it was exactly 3 weeks to the day after I buried my mom. So I was driving when I got the call from Dr. Bailey, who sends her love and everything else, and wishes she could be here. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it today, so I took some pictures and I'm sending them to her. And I'll be brief. I promise I can be verbose, but I'll be brief because it's so bloody cold out here. So I got the call. I was driving to Pennsylvania, and Joan texted me. I never look at my phone when I'm driving. She kept texting and texting. She called me twice. And I said, "Joan, what's going on? Is everything okay?" And she said, "It's about Maria. She was inconsolable, and she told me Maria's critically ill. Told me what she was battling, and I had to pull off the side of the road. And my exact words were, 'What the fuck? Are you kidding me?' So I pulled off the side of the road. Joan filled me in, and I said, I can't believe this. I was just talking to her a few weeks ago. Typical Maria story. I had an adjunct. I was chair at the time, and an adjunct that dropped out about 4 days before the spring semester was going to begin. Didn't know what to do. Maria called me to ask me about something, and then she called me back and said, "Andrew, I can do it." And I said, "What?" And this was a 4 credit course, and she already had a 1 credit overload. I said, "Maria, that's just not reasonable. I'll figure something out." "No, you're stressed enough. You got things going on. Your mom is critically ill. I'll help out." That was Maria. And when she took sick, she relayed to me indirectly that she was just going to be out a couple of weeks. She'd come back after March break, where she never came back. And also to show and demonstrate Maria's impact, aside from just the constant candy stashes and trying to fatten me up. And she knew I was a chocoholic, so as Scott mentioned, she only brought the good stuff, not candy corn or things like that. It was always Snickers bars, and these were full bars. These weren't the little tiny ones you give out at Halloween. So when I was cleaning out her office, I had to empty out the pumpkin that had all this candy in it. It was in her drawers. It was just really interesting. But to show you how much she was loved, I had to teach the day after finding out she'd passed away. My students knew my mom had passed away because I had to take some time away from here. And one student's reaction was, "Oh, mon Dios," and she just started crying uncontrollably. It was really a very interesting scene, and somehow I had to carry on to 2-hour, 45-minute back-to-back classes in the middle of all this. So I dedicated them to her. I dedicated the day that she passes to her as well. My students have been very aware of the impact she made on everybody here, everybody who's not here, and she's a good friend and a colleague. And I've been doing this too often lately. I miss her. I really do. Thank you.
Next, I would like to move to a fundraising update. Those of you know, we had a campaign, a fundraising campaign, and I'd like to call up Dr. Cynthia Diaz to give us a little update as to where we are and offer maybe a little remembrance, because not only is Dr. Diaz heading up the advancement effort here, she was also one of Maria's students.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Cynthia Diaz, and I have the honor of speaking with you today as both a representative of the NJCU Foundation and as a proud double alum of NJCU. Dr. Maria Lynn, Maria, as she referred, was more than a professor to many of us. She was a mentor, a guide, and a deeply compassionate soul. I had the privilege of taking her class not once, but 3 times. During my undergrad studies, I intentionally picked her courses. Like Scott said, they were always filled. And I picked it because she had such a passion for psychology that it was contagious. She's the one that actually made me want to switch over to psychology. I was a bio major at first. She made me feel seen, heard, welcomed, something I know so many others here have also experienced. Even after I graduated and joined the university as a professional, Maria continued to check in, to encourage, and to cheer me on. One of her last text messages to me said, "If you ever need to talk or need help, you know I'm here." That simple, caring offer captures exactly who she was: steadfast, kind hearted, and devoted to our students and our university. Now, thanks to the generosity of 42 donors, we were able to raise a total of $10,399 in her memory. Of that, about 4,000 was used to create this beautiful space, and the remaining funds will now go towards scholarships for psychology majors, continuing Maria's legacy of student support. Maria believed in NJCU and she believed in every one of her students. I'm so proud to help honor her today. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to call up Donovan Prasad, who will read some remarks on behalf of retired Professor Joan Bailey from the psychology department.
Thank you, thank you. These are the remarks on behalf of Joan Bailey, friend and professor of psychology. I am very sorry that I'll miss the memorial, but I'll be there in spirit. I know that others will speak to Maria's kindness, generosity, and grace, since these qualities truly define her. But I also wanted to share some of the more everyday things that Maria so uniquely herself. Maria ran track in high school and even spent summer at an Olympic training camp in Florida. Like many NJCU students, she worked hard to finance her education. She lived in a boarding house during college and cleaned and served food to the other residents in exchange for room and board. She had strong opinions when it came to food. She abhorred vegetables and salad, but loved meat and cheese, especially cheeseburgers and quesadillas. Maria was a scholar of Plantagenet history and loved to discuss the reigns of its kings. She adored British mysteries and was a regular watcher of BritBox. Every year, she reread The Lord of the Rings and rewatched the films, which is also one of my favorites. She was fascinated but the supernatural, especially stories of reputed hauntings, and she loved visiting haunted houses. Maria also loved her cats deeply, with the same devotion she showed her friends. One of her cats need insulin twice a day, and Maria hadn't traveled in more than a decade since she insisted on being the one to care for him. That kind of loyalty and quiet sacrifice was simply who she was. Warmest regards, Joan. So, if I may share, Dr. Lynn is truly a definition of a woman of grace. She advocated for me when I was an undergrad here in NJCU. She was my faculty advisor and my professor for numerous classes. She also advocated for me to get my first job outside of NJCU as a teacher for Jersey City Global Charter School. Me and her would have countless conversations, and she always adored my tenacity for my faithfulness in God. So whenever we had the chance, I would talk to her about the Lord. But Dr. Lynn was definitely a servant leader, and without her, I wouldn't be here today because she's one of the instrumental pieces in my life, her and my mother. So, to Dr. Lynn and to those that have Dr. Lynn's touch your lives, may God continue to touch your hearts and remember Dr. Lynn's memories, not so much of what happened, but what she played in your part of your life. Every role counts and every person counts.
Thank you very much. While you're thinking about it, I would like to invite up Ms. Vivian Goins, who was a neighbor of Maria's, and she's going to read something. Oh, you can share your own, whatever you like.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. Maria and I met not as co-workers but as friends. We were neighbors. She lived on the second floor, I lived on the first, and she lived directly over me. So I heard, I would hear her all the time. She was always very busy. You could almost hear her printer going, and she's doing her papers. And sometimes I would call her and I said, Maria, what are you doing? And she says, oh, babe, I'm so sorry, just putting things together. I said somebody probably from Amazon lost their job because Maria had so many packages coming in on the regular. She loved assembling things, and you would hear her banging and hammering and so forth. But most importantly, she just kind of worked in our building to bring us together. Where it was a lot of single women in the building. And interestingly enough, a lot of us were in education. So, she started this thing where on Friday evenings we would come together for like an hour or so, and we would just have little finger food and just share and laugh. So that kind of segued us into kind of going out together, having lunch, and that kind of thing. Yes, Maria with the cats and the candy. I ended up kind of being the cat sitter, from a few years back. And the funny thing is, my nickname is Kitty, but I'm terrified of cats. And I end up being the cat sitter. So it's like I would go in, and the cats would just like greet me and start leading me into the kitchen, showing me where their food was. And I'm telling them like, okay, I know, just move, give me a minute, because squeamish. And one day I turned around and looked on the counter, and there was a big bag of candy. I'm also the queen of chocoholic. So as like I said, we can do this. So but in all seriousness, I was really surprised and stunned because we would touch base with each other, always feeling like we're single women, we have to look out for each other and we have to support each other. And it was a theme amongst us. I see her coming in with groceries, from the window, you need help, and that kind of thing. But she never said anything about that she was not feeling well or something else was going on. And so, I got kind of taken aback when one day I meet her sister in the hallway, and the sister told me that she was in the hospital and a lot of things were going on with her. But I said, typical Maria, because her thing was, I didn't want you to worry. And I said, I would have loved to worry. But her family and I have bonded. They've invited me to come down and spend some time and see Missouri, and I did promise them I am coming. And the sister is just coping and trying to put things in perspective. So I just as I said to her, I'll take care of the apartment, let management know, and this kind of thing. That's the way we did it. But every single thing that's been said here is so representative of the Maria that I also knew as a friend that it's nothing else to say except that you met the same Maria I did, just on different circumstances, and we're all blessed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to call up Dr. Amparo Fabra, who will read on behalf of Robert Piaskowski, former director in the Human Resource Department, perhaps one of the closest friends that Maria had here at NJCU.
Maria was a very close friend. I miss her so much. She was a compassionate person who was respected by her students and colleagues. She loved animals, especially her cats. Maria would go above and beyond to help her students and her friends. She was an outstanding teacher who had a great expertise in her field. She was also an outstanding administrator. Her colleagues rely on her for her knowledge and abilities. For me personally, Maria was a cherished friend. I always knew I could go to her for advice and counsel. She never let me down.
She had a huge impact on me and many others. She's deeply missed. And this is from Robert Piaskowski, former Director of Human Resources.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to call up Ms. Melita Rodas. Melita made history in 2013 when she was chosen by the city of Jersey City to serve as inaugural poet. She recited her poem, There in a City, Our Jersey City, at Mayor Stephen Fulop's inauguration ceremony. Her performance captivated an audience of more than 2,000 people. She's also the current Jersey City Poet Laureate. At the same time, I think this is sort of bringing things full circle because the exact students that Maria helped to support here, our students at NJCU, one of them was Melita. She was here, I think, in the late 90s, and she's exactly representative of the students that we have here and the students that NJCU helped in transforming their lives. So with that, I'd like to invite Melita up and to offer a poem. And if you want to say anything else too.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It's so wonderful coming home. To me, Jersey City, New Jersey City University. I was going to say Jersey City State College. That's how old school I am. It's coming home. It's coming home to a warm, cozy hug. When I was thinking of Dr. Maria, and there's people that talk the talk, and there's people that embody certain things that we all need. For instance, resilience, hope, people that inspire us to be better, aspire for something better, to hold on tight and never give up. This poem is in the spirit of those precious things, which people's kindness means so much. Small acts of kindness can accumulate to something grand, and I see that here. This poem is called Hope, and I'm going to share it in her name. I want to write a poem about the ethereal thing that begins at the womb, at the first heart's flutter, before the first light, the first cry, the first caress, the first dawn when we float in a mist, almost sightless. Yet we sense the warmth of the other, be it the father, the nurse, the mother. We embrace that first breath, followed by another and yet another. I want to write a poem about the energy that propels the child to school. Not the mere spokes on the wheel, nor the pedals on the bike, which turn, 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 propelling onward, but rather something deeper, akin to anticipation, a gentle stir in the heart at the sight of a friend, a wise teacher, a cherished book, each with lessons to lend, delights and possibilities. I want to write a poem about the intangible thing, that which ignites the spark of perseverance, the force that despite despair, amidst the tempests and cascading torrents, compels us to forge forward. I want to write a poem about the essence of faith, the whispered promise made to oneself. Despite the arduous climb, the door firmly shut, the ceiling lowered. I want to write a poem about that which resembles the blooming of a cherry blossom. Winter has come, the chill has lingered, and yet we await for that first delicate pink flower. Despite the frost, we trust that its first hello will find us. I want to write a poem about the thing that sustains us, that which resembles a wish, a soft response, a whispered vow, the unfolding of better days, the gentle turning of pages, the radiant song of tomorrow. I want to write a poem about cupped hands delivering something sacred, like salt, water, earth, seeds, something that allows us to endure the present moment, belief in the bestowing of a future gift. I want to write a poem about that which finds us after to ourselves we utter simple words of supplication. The wind taken clouds, unveil the sun's rays, a reminder that we are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone. Instead, we are part of something greater, an external beacon, and our own inner radiance, harmoniously entwined. Alas, emerging from the depths of silence and shadows. I want to write a poem about that which is given to us by our ancestors, our people, our friends, their strength passed down, nestled deeply in our bones, in our blood, in the fabric of our being. I want to write a poem about the rhythm that vibrates through the heart's ache, finding a chorus of fortitude, a symphony, reminding us of what drives our human spirit, the song of resilience, where we find our stay, a melody echoing of you, of me, of all of us, a poem about the resonant musical note that is hope.